I called the county attorney and volunteered to take the case.
For the first time in history, a U.S. attorney was deputized as an Arizona state prosecutor. McDonald had to resurrect a case that many considered impossible to retry.
There had been 5 years transpired between the time of the crime and the time of the trial. Witnesses travel and move all over the country. Memories start to fade. And so you've got to recreate and present the crime as if it happened a month ago when you're facing a problem that it's really 5 years old.
The prosecutor wanted to lock down the exact time that the victims had been deposited into the weed and prove it was the same time Owens was at the lake, so there would be no question Owens was responsible.
One of the problems with finding the guards was that the bodies were not recovered for 6 weeks. The defense, we knew, would argue.
Suddenly appeared after your experience at that time. We know they're here to lay claim to the artifacts, but what's their true motivation? What are they telling us?
Evidence that had been overlooked in earlier trials. The second guard's self-winding watch. Examiners noted that the watch stopped at 10:37 p.m. on May 26th.
They're certainly hostile, but I don't think they're here to completely annihilate us, or they would have done so already. Damn. Oh, if only we knew more about the story. What their species is like, where they're from, how they're able to speak our language. I feel like a cadet on my very first day aboard a spaceship. My mind is absolutely swimming with questions.
There was no water that
Clearly,
yeah, portions of the watch to control its operation. We literally went all the way to Switzerland to get experts there to talk about how much time it would take for a watch.
Obviously, there has to be more to these beings than simply originating from another world. Their name alone, Starborn. There's some hidden meaning, something that feels very old, perhaps even ancient. Whatever the case may be, I can assure you that Constellation intends to get to the bottom of this mystery.
The prosecutor explained that the brothers had been there.
Exactly. We must use all of the tools at our disposal to learn more about the Starborn and their connection to the artifacts.
He is speaking to you from the grave. He's asking you,
Thank
look
you.
at my watch.
I really
I'm sending you a
appreciate your
message
support right
through
now.
my watch.
You know, it's funny.
After 3 hours,
When I was a little girl, I'd lay on the ground and stare up at the stars. I was absolutely convinced they held a secret.
they found Michael and Patrick
I'd remain there for hours in silence, eyes closed,
judge reinstated sentences of death.
waiting for the secret to be whispered in my ear.
The defendants appealed.
This encounter with the Starborn, is that
It was one
right
of the
to me?
words. This is where their case went to the United
The
States
stars
Supreme
are
Court.
finally
In
whispering.
the United States, in a
And
published
I need to
opinion,
hear
a
what
very
they have to
closely
say.
divided court again affirmed their conviction and sentences.
With nothing left to lose.
I knew I could count on your support. Well then, you've certainly wasted enough of your valuable time. Just do be careful if you cross paths with these Starborn in the future. I wouldn't want to lose one of the most valuable
They had
members
actually
of
spent almost a
Constellation.
year tailing the van. They knew its route. On those mornings that it went up to Prescott and delivered its money to the banks in Prescott, they knew the exact route. They knew the stops that it made. They knew the times that it did it. They knew everything about it.
Motherfuckers believe. Oh shit!
They had rented one with cash that the FBI was unable to trace.
We never found that it was a rental car. And by the time the rental car was taken back, it was, by the time they figured out what was going on, it had been rented out probably 200 times since then. And we were never able to actually pin down for certainty the car.
The brothers affixed a light bar and a license
Crazy,
plate
bro.
resembled those used by the Arizona Department of Public Safety.
It was an accident anyway.
They readied their tools needed for the heist. Owens waited more than an hour. The van was unexpectedly delayed. Finally, they saw their quarry. Patrick drove the disguised car while Michael hid under the dash. They stopped the van on the pretext of speeding. Company policy insisted that the guards never open van doors to anyone, even if stopped by the police. Patrick ordered the driver to step out. When he failed to follow procedure,
I'm
the
sure
driver
this
pressed
had
pause
to
to
see
defense.
go.
The Owens put the guards in the rear of the van. Michael was to drive the van while Patrick drove the car. But when Patrick took off, the van didn't follow. This explained the tracks found in front of where the van was stopped. By the time Patrick reached the rear of the van, Michael was beating the guards. They stunned the guards with high voltage tasers. The brothers drove the vehicles into the desert near the town of London.
I picked up something you might be interested in. You've
One of
got
the
something
guards
for me?
looked as if he had died from the beating. Michael decided that the other would have to die as
Fishing
well.
for a handout, eh?
He had a makeshift garage in his pocket, a cord tied to 2 pieces of wood.
And the one thing we found out about it,
Maybe
of course,
another
is that
time.
Mike was obviously the planner, the instigator, and the enforcer, and everything related to the crime. And that he was the one who physically murdered the 2 guards. Pat, of course, helped him at Mike's insistence. But it was Mike
Dad
who
is right
put
here
the rope around
when
the
you're
neck
done with your
and choked him.
Patrick claimed that Michael had buried most of the money in the desert. At least one of the Owens relatives knew where that was.
Changed your mind, did you?
Because she
Willing to help me get a
the
promotion?
authorities didn't prosecute her for her involvement. The money had rotted from the elements
Fine.
in the intervening
I'll figure out
years.
some other way to get what I want.
Patrick's confession gave closure to the case.
We knew most of it. We felt better, of course, when the person actually admits it, because there's always some room for doubt until you get it from the heart and from the mouth of the perpetrator.
The courts turned down all appeals for the Owens. The state of Arizona finally administered a lethal injection to Michael Pope on June 16, 1999. After all calls for clemency were denied, Patrick Owens was executed 9 months later on March 15, 2000. Unlike his older brother, Patrick used his final moments to express regret for the pain and suffering he had caused. In the summer of 1988, a wealthy Jackson, Mississippi woman disappeared from home in broad daylight. The only clue left behind was a mysterious ransom note. The FBI and local police struggled to find answers to this cryptic message so they could find the kidnapper and retrieve the victim before their time ran out.
So if y'all wondering what I'm watching in the background, this one I'm watching FBI. Oh, we got something cool playing in the background.
A daring kidnapping and a
I
bizarre
used to
ransom
watch
note.
crime shows with my
Baffled
mom all
Mississippi
the time
authorities.
growing up.
The victim was the wife of a wealthy businessman. A list of 12 names and a few drops of blood were the only clues to her fate. I'm Jim Kalstrom, former head of the FBI's New York office. The ransom note gave the FBI its first leads, but the case was not so clear-cut. Solving it required the keen insight of a criminal profiler and the perseverance of a family, local authorities, and the FBI.
6 a.m., July 26, 1988. The heat of a midsummer day would soon bear down on the southern city of Jackson, Mississippi. Like every weekday for the past 48 years, Annie Laurie Heron had coffee with her husband Robert before he left for work. As early investors in oil, the Herons had become one of Mississippi's wealthiest couples, with a fortune estimated at more than $100 million. That day, Annie Laurie Heron would host her bridge club at home, the same house where she raised 2 children and lived with her husband since they were newlyweds. By 3:30, Mrs. Heron's bridge game was over and her friends had left. The housekeeper finished cleaning up after the card game and checked if Mrs. Heron needed anything else.
Enjoy your time aboard this cow.
The 73-year-old woman said everything was
I
fine.
wasn't aware we had visitors. Wadick, you didn't tell me
Annie Heron
we had
planned to spend the rest of
visitors.
her afternoon reading until her husband returned.
We have visitors.
Excellent. Now that you've gone to all this trouble to get here, you should
She
make
wasn't
yourself
expecting
at home.
But perhaps one of the bridge players or the
Relax.
housekeeper had
Kick
forgotten
up your
something.
feet on the table. I don't care they have scorch marks on them anyway. The artifact.
Annie Laurie Heron.
Ah, you must mean my latest curio. I have never seen anything like it.
At about
Intricate
4:30
pattern
that afternoon,
details, a
Robert
metal
Heron returned from work.
soft to the touch, yet bears not one hint of wear or tear. You are out of luck, my new friend. I cannot part
He
with
saw
it.
that his wife
I
was at
know,
home.
it's a
Figured she was
fickle
out with
man who
friends.
falls in love so easily. But what can I say? Mi amor.
When she hadn't returned by 5:30, he thought it was strange that his wife of 48 years hadn't called.
Petra! It's me! Harry, you dare show your face in my ship again?
Hey, still sore about that? Engines blow up all the time.
Ah! You old son of a space flea!
Robert grew concerned
It's
and
good
began
to
calling
see
family
you!
and friends.
Hey, old pal. How about a tour of the vault? Let me wallow in my jealousy
No
one more
had seen
time.
Annie since the bridge game.
Of course! Come with me. I know.
Robert's son-in-law lived
People
nearby,
look at
said
me
he'd
and
be
say,
right over.
Petra, your whole ship is a testament of splendor. Why do you need a
The
special
son-in-law
boat?
said he and his wife hadn't
Well,
heard from
all
Mrs.
I
Heron.
can say is that even the greatest collection needs its own
Robert Heron
private
pointed out
viewing
that when Annie
area.
left the house, she
Plus,
usually took her
between you
purse.
and me, there are
But his
thieves
wife's purse and
everywhere.
shoes sat beside her reading
So I
chair.
spared no expense.
Her newspaper
Every
and
door
glasses were
between me
nearby.
and my treasures is painful. But that is
Robert
the
was
price
worried
of
since Mrs. Heron's
security.
medicine for a chronic
Yes,
intestinal
sir.
disease was still in the bathroom.
just a bit further.
She would need to take it sooner. She
This
would not
ship
be able
and
to
I have
absorb
been
fuel.
through some adventures, I'll tell you.
The men continued to search
I
for
once
some
collected
indication of where she
salvage
could
from
go.
a Deimos Celestial class while it was exploding. The crew was scraping scorch marks and bits of metal off the hull for weeks.
Without
And
specific
of course, there was the time I accidentally steered us into a UC Navy vessel after a particularly uproarious celebration of my latest acquisitions of fine art.
But it didn't say how much.
We
Where to
were
send the money.
wedged perfectly between them
He was
two
ordered not to call
thrusters,
police,
and
so
were
he
able
waited for a
to
ransom call with
just
instructions on
kind
getting his
of
wife back.
push them back into the Star Yard
When none
for
came back,
repairs.
he contacted the Jackson Police Department despite being warned not to. Officers secured the ransom note, hoping to keep any fingerprints intact. Processing the house for evidence, officers discovered a trace of what appeared to be blood on the front door frame. Laboratory tests later revealed that it was blood, and that it matched Mrs. Heron's blood type. Jackson police detective interviewed Robert Heron. They wanted to know if he or his wife had ever been threatened.
And
He had no
now,
idea.
the moment itself.
If Mrs. Heron were without her medication, her intestinal condition
You,
would become
isn't
critical.
it? The man who sold me this
Is a
told
crime
me
that
that it
or
spoke,
the chances of rescuing the victim.
that holding it for the first time was like drowning
That evening,
in your
Jackson
own
police
soul.
contacted Special Agent Patrick
Alas,
McGovern
I've
of the
held it
FBI's
several
Jackson
times,
field
and my
office
soul is
to bring
still
the resources
breathing,
of the federal government
devoid of
their
any
way.
such enlightenment.
Under the federal kidnapping statute, the FBI has jurisdiction whenever an individual is kidnapped in the United States.
Oh, no.
Presumption in this case, of course,
No.
was,
I
kidnapping had occurred, a ransom
one-
demand had been made,
My.
and the possibility of
It's only
trial
fair
interstate
to warn you.
is in fact
Hands
likely
off.
involved in these types of matters.
I would hate to sour our new friendship by becoming the victim of pirates.
Would advise investigators in legal
We're not
matters as
pirates,
the case developed.
Petrov. We're explorers.
Like most
Who
residents,
might do a
Jackson,
bit of piracy
Tucker
on
had
the side as a
great
hobby
admiration for
sometimes.
Robert Heron was a self-made man, and at the time of this incident, which was 1988, Mr. Heron was probably considered
What
one
are
of
you-
the foremost financial residents.
That's all.
Wait!
He
I
was well known
surrender!
in
I
the
surrender!
business
Don't
community.
kill me!
He was a generous person, so he was becoming
Captain's word is
particular
good.
acts of
Done!
velocity.
Stand down, everyone!
FBI
The nice pirate pass.
The Jackson police detective filled in the case agent on what they
Get
learned so
out
far.
now.
The FBI set up a satellite command post at the residence and tapped the Heron's phone, ready to trace any ransom. There was little doubt that multi-millionaire Robert Heron was the real target. Yet Mr. Heron hadn't been told what to pay to get his wife back.
It was impossible to comply, or nearly impossible to
Get
comply.
out now.
With these demands because they were non-specific in nature. Mrs. Heron was not even mentioned in the note. There was no provision for her safe return.
The note did say that the 12
not
men
getting-
listed had been involved in the same photography company. Robert Heron explained that he had once served as chairman of the
So
board
what?
for that company.
We're just going to let the ship?
Some of the company's franchisees
Yeah.
had been
Always
sued.
something happening on the
But
scout.
Heron did not know which one.
Y'all can let me leave peacefully or y'all
Seemed
can
unlikely
die. That's y'all
that
choice.
12 men kidnapped Mrs. Heron. But perhaps
I
one or
want
more
to smoke every last one of y'all. Let's be
Robert
honest.
Heron.
I was hoping y'all got crazy so I can brutalize y'all.
Technicians collected
Take
samples of
everything
all
y'all
the
got
papers
in
from
this
Heron's
ship.
home.
Huge.
They would compare the paper to the
I'd
ransom
love to have
to see
something
if
like
it had
that.
been written on the stock from the house.
None of y'all talk.
You're lucky the captain's a coward.
The results
For
will
me,
take a few days.
I'd say we go a few more rounds.
I'm talking about you lucky the captain, the coward.
Investigators searched outside the house for hairs, blood, clothing, anything that might reveal the kidnappers. They looked for cigarette butts, evidence of food or drink, signs that someone had been watching the house. They found nothing. Neighbors and domestic workers reported seeing nothing strange at the house.
Excuse me.
And no one had seen Mrs. Herring leave. The next day, agents continued canvassing the Herrings' room. They questioned a doctor who lived down the street. He said that he had seen something in the neighborhood recently that might be related to the kidnapping. 2 weeks earlier, the doctor was going to run errands when he drove past a white van parked near his house. From that position, anyone in the van would have a clear view of the Herring house. At first, the doctor thought nothing of it. But when he returned home hours later, the van was still there. Thinking the driver needed help, the doctor thought
I got a $5 bounty on my head right now.
the driver responded by asking if
Hey,
he
you
was
just
alone in
came
his
to drink
apartment.
almost lemonade? What the fuck?
But I drunk 1 cup of that.
Ain't shit worse than that. That was down there a whole thing when you got first got here. So who else was drinking?
This is United Colony Space.
That was one big cup.
Current course while we scan for contraband.
Seen a white van on the street 3 months earlier.
Be advised, you have been identified as a known criminal. Respond immediately, or we will be forced to open fire.
Sitting almost
I've got
directly
special
behind
orders. You're coming with me. Stand down and prepare for immediate transport to our vessel.
Yeah, but it's 2 pops
She
in the
was
freezer.
suspicious enough of the van to get the
Smart
license.
decision. Stand by to be boarded and transferred.
Investigators could find that van. They might also find Mrs. Herring. But a computer check revealed that the license plate had been stolen from a car at the New Orleans airport. It was another dead end. After 36 hours of investigation,
I'm telling you, the commander's got plans for this loser. Why else would he be going through all this trouble? I still don't understand why he trusts a criminal. Seems like too much of a risk.
The note had been typed on paper far into the Herring's home. They also compared the typeface to known samples from every typewriter made in this century.
The laboratory division was able to determine.
Stop worrying and keep an eye on our guest. I'll be right back.
By a royal manufactured between 1912 and 1920.
You just sit tight. Commander wants to have a little
On
chat.
the demand letter, which would give
The prisoner is ready, sir.
ability to tell us the manufacturer the payment.
It says like what
Evidence on the
A latent fingerprint examination revealed nothing. And the spot on the note believed to
I
be
hope you're
blood was
comfortable.
too small to handle.
We have a lot to discuss.
Although no evidence on the note helped agents, they hoped its message would.
Not this
The
time.
note demanded that Robert Herring pay
What's
$12
this time? It's the only time we've never been involved with them.
perhaps the
Because you spent several years as a bounty hunter. That type of background will get you quite far around here.
each of the 12 men.
I also see that you climbed on Vectera, and now you're with Constellation.
One of the
Certainly
company's
been
executives
quite
provided
busy.
the FBI with company
Oh,
files and
look at that.
photos.
Right at the bottom of this list is the criminal incident that landed you in my crosshairs.
The others were scattered throughout the country.
I will, when I'm ready.
Field office.
Now that we have that out of the way, let me introduce myself. My name is Commander Kibwe Ikande, and I'm in charge of this operation for UC
Requesting
System.
additional
Are you
information.
familiar with what we do?
Agents found that many had financial trouble.
Yes,
They tried
this
to
is your
ascertain
only
if those doing
opportunity to
travel
keep
knew that
yourself
Herring
out of
lived
jail.
in a white van.
So I suggest you change your
And again
attitude.
recently when the kidnapping.
UC System is a division of the UC Navy. Well, they handle the big picture stuff. We deal with a very particular problem. The Crimson Fleet. That convict is where you enter the picture.
73-year-old gamer. But as the kidnapping investigation stretched into its
No.
third day,
No, you don't.
only 7
Not
days
yet,
remained on the
anyway.
ransom note deadline.
We've been prodding at
Agents
the
still
Crimson
lacked
Fleet for
instructions
years,
on how to recover
trying to take them down one ship at a time. We barely scratched the surface. We can get someone on the inside. We have a shot at finding a loose thread we can pull to bring it all down.
Mississippi home in broad daylight. The FBI continued surveillance on 11 men named in the ransom
Not for me.
found inside.
For yourself. Look,
Agents
I'm going to
confront
make this
them.
simple.
The frightened
Agree to work for
kidnapper
UCC, Steph. Together, we take down the Crimson Fleet.
Special Agent
Refuse, and I tell these guys to throw you into the nearest lockup. Might even tack on an extra few hundred credits to
They
your
were
file.
traveling, even small distances from the residences of business. We wanted to see if they perhaps were keeping Mrs. Heron at a remote
Well,
location.
first of all, we'll forget about the infraction that landed you on the vigilance. Wipe the slate clean.
They wouldn't want to
Better
be too
still,
far away from
depending on how well you do your job, we'll even kick in a few extra credits to offset any cost that the operation will incur. Or we can throw that away and end up back in jail with a hefty fine attached.
But they still resisted contacting the 11 men directly, so as not to reveal.
When you broke the law, you forfeited your rights. Basically,
The
I can
FBI
do
considered
whatever the hell I want.
that the kidnapper
So,
might be someone
what do you
other
say?
than the men listed on
You going to
the
work with me? Or should I find someone else?
Agents contacted the behavioral science unit of the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia for assistance. Profilers in the unit are agents trained to determine characteristics of criminals from the details of a case.
If I didn't think you had a chance, I would have left you in lockup. You're just going to have to follow your instincts and trust me.
The profiler called in his findings to the Jackson FBI.
Smart choice. I'm going to have one of my men escort the operations. I strongly suggest that you don't give him any trouble. And don't bother trying to leave the ship. I think you'll find all access to the docking area is fully restricted.
And since all those men had at least some college education, he believed one of them had intentionally misspelled words and used an old typewriter to throw off investigators.
All right, let's
The
go.
profiler said the abduction was an act of revenge against Robert Heron.
Okay, hello.
So, you took the op instead of serving the time. Gonna be the commander's new role, huh?
Believe that the sole perpetrator was responsible for this crime.
Infiltrating a bunch of pirates.
White male,
You got a lot of guts. Still, it makes you wonder, especially with the stories that go around. Like the one about how the fleet deals with informants by lashing them to the hull of a ship, and then slowly letting the air out of their
There was
suit.
only a 50% chance.
Could you imagine a worse way to go? I know I couldn't. But I wouldn't worry about it. Since the commander handpicked you, I'm guessing you can hold your breath for a really long time, right?
The note said, pay them whatever damages are owed to them. If any is dead, pay their children. Damages is a legal term. It was telling in that one of the individuals on the committee was an attorney.
Special Agent Tom Montgomery of the FBI's Jacksonville, Florida office was called in to investigate the attorney listed on the note, a man named N. Alfred Wynn.
After we
As far as I
received the
know.
name of
Take
that
the lift up to
operator,
ops.
we did the
Commander
public
Econ, they
record
should be
background
waiting for
checks.
you.
We also contacted the St. Petersburg Police Department and Dallas County Sheriff's Office, found that he had no criminal record, did our own criminal checks also. We discovered that he was a St. Petersburg attorney and he lived above his office.
Howdy.
Agent went to interview him in his office residence. Alfred Wynn said he had nothing to do with the kidnapping and explained where he was on July
there you are.
26th.
Excellent.
The day Mrs. Heron went missing.
Now that we've established your level of cooperation,
He'd been at a bar.
I want to introduce you to your new home. This is the operations center of the UC Vigilance. SysDef's nerve center, dedicated to destruction of the
He
Crimson
asked the
Fleet.
employee to meet him at the bar and lend him $100 so he could go home with a prostitute. The paralegal promised to be right over. Wynn said he and the prostitute went
Which
outside.
is precisely why we're taking a more clandestine
He stole for
approach.
time as he waited for his
We need
paralegal to
eyes
show
and
up.
ears inside the Crimson Fleet. Someone who can feed us information, evidence, and expose their weaknesses. The catch is that you can't just knock on their front door and ask for an application. Getting inside is going to take some finesse. Good. I have just the right place for you to start. Our intelligence has managed to find a possible opening into the Crimson Fleet through Saoirse Bode, one of their contacts. She works for the Trade Authority in Sidonia, so you'll be using a container of Aurora loaded on your ship to get her attention.
The next day, agents checked the alibi with
You better hope so.
paralegal and the attorney
Saoirse won't be
inside the
easy
office.
to dupe. Once you bluff your way into the Crimson Fleet, the operation proceeds to evidence gathering. That's where my second-in-command, Lieutenant Gillian Toft, comes into the picture. She'll explain everything you need to know.
We learned that Wynn had paid for the paralegal schooling
Eager to get
at
going?
the local community college.
Good.
There's paralegal
Remember,
schooling.
this entire operation rests on your ability to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet and bring us the evidence we need to take them down.
Between the paralegal and Mr. Wynn.
Later, an agent re-interviewed Wynn's paralegal,
Fine.
explaining their
Whatever
suspicions.
gets the job done. Look,
He maintained that
before you
Wynn went
begin,
to the bar
I want
the
to
same
make
day
something
he where
perfectly
he
clear.
did reveal something new
As an
about his
undercover
boss.
operative for UCC staff,
He said
be
that
expected
Wynn's
to
legal
follow our
record
code
was
of
a
conduct
photographer
and
who had
ethics.
gotten the company
Allow
4
yourself to
photos
stray
from 7
too
years
far
earlier,
off the path,
and that he had fought
and
the
you stand
lawsuit
a
with
good chance of spiraling out of control.
He had attempted to declare bankruptcy 3 times in order to avoid paying his debts. Under a court order to recover the money, the U.S.
The Crimson
Marshal's
Fleet
Office
doesn't follow the
confiscated Wynn's
rules.
valuables,
They only abide by
including
one
1,000
thing:
shares of expensive
money.
stock.
All of their morals and social graces fall by the wayside in pursuit of their greed. At first glance, this can appear quite enticing, so I'm warning you not to get lured into their trap.
In addition,
Think you can
they
handle
put his
that?
St. Petersburg office up for auction. On July 6, 1988, less than 3 weeks before Mrs. Herron disappeared, Wynn had been notified of an eviction hearing
I don't want promises. I'm just asking you to
where he had
think.
refused to leave.
Anyway, it's time to hand you over to Lieutenant Toft. He'll brief you about the details of the evidence-gathering portion of the operation. Now, get out of here.
The FBI wondered if the
Good luck.
involved in the kidnapping.
We pulled all vehicles
That's easy to answer. Don't. We'll be monitoring your activities from the vigilance and attempting to keep it within your vicinity. When you've gathered enough evidence and at the completion of your assignment, head back here for a debrief. Beyond that, you're completely on your own.
It
Good luck.
seemed to be a major breakthrough in the case. The vehicle identification number
Yes?
revealed the name of the previous owner. An agent went to interview her. She said Alfred Wynn, not his paralegal, had been the actual buyer.
What?
She said that Wynn had acted strangely. He was adamant that his name not be written on the title. So the woman left
Hello.
the line for the buyer's name blank. The lead was promising, but then agents learned that the van had been in the repair shop on the day of the kidnapping. It was one more frustration in a difficult case. After more than a week, the FBI and U.S. Attorney James
Pardon.
Tucker were no closer to finding Mrs. Herron.
A case like this is extremely difficult when you don't have an eyewitness to any one of several situations. We did not have an eyewitness as to the abduction itself. We did not have an eyewitness that knew Alfred Wynn or any of the other people listed in the
Jackson, Mississippi police station, investigators again met with the doctor who had seen a white van in the Harrods neighborhood. He hoped he could recognize the driver in a photo lineup. The neighbor quickly picked out the photo of Alfred Wynn.
All right. We don't have a lot of time, so I need you to listen up. While you're working undercover, it's imperative that you gather as much evidence as possible. If you find any records that look suspicious or incriminating, you bring it to me. Is that understood?
Also identified Wynn as the driver. It was clear to agents that Alfred Wynn was connected to the kidnapping.
You better make it, because Commander Akande cashed in all his chips to get this operation off the ground. I want data slates, computer downloads, handwritten notes. Hell, I'll take anything if it'll get those bastards thrown into the brig.
It's not the man who walked up to the door and actually grabbed Mrs. Heron. He certainly was directing.
For the sake of the settled systems, I hope you're right. That minor skirmish you had with them on Vectera was nothing compared to the death and destruction those pirates leave behind. If you've seen what I've seen, you understand why I'm pushing you so hard.
Hopes of finding frail Mrs. Heron dimmed further.
I was hoping that you'd be inspired into thinking this is more than a punishment. It appears that I was wrong. I suppose we'll simply have to motivate you in a different way. Commander Akande has authorized a credit disbursement for each piece of evidence that you return. As compensation for your efforts.
Specific steps to earn Mrs. Heron's release.
Yes. Commander Akande mentioned that when he proposed the idea. Lucky you. All right. We've loaded a container of Aurora into your ship's cargo hold. We're also providing you with a sample you can use to tease the goods. We've cleared your ship for launch. Proceed to Sidonia. Make contact with Saoirse Bowden. And with any luck, she'll point you to the Crimson Fleet. That should do it. You're dismissed.
Follow any specific instructions.
I'll be here if you have any more questions.
If you have any questions, now's the time to ask.
On August 15th, 1988, Robert Heron spotted the familiar handwriting of his wife in his mail. The envelope was postmarked August 12th from Atlanta, Georgia. Investigators were careful not to destroy any evidence that might have been left on it. Mr. Heron believed the letter was in his wife's handwriting, too. FBI lab examiners later confirmed that it was. In the letter, Mrs. Heron begged her husband to do what the kidnappers wanted, or they would seal her up in a cellar with only a few jugs of water. Though the letter provided no instructions on how to comply, for Special Agent Patrick's work, it did bring new encouragement just when all hope of recovering Mrs. Heron alive seemed lost.
When we received the August 15th letter, which was in Mrs. Heron's handwriting, it really lifted the spirits of everybody that was involved in the case. We felt reasonably sure that she was in good enough condition to write the letter, and we were going to get back the same thing.
The letter itself had been dated August 10th, 15 days after the abduction. Yet no one could be sure Mrs. Heron was alive on that date. It was unclear if she had written the letter on her own, or if the message was coerced, according to FBI Special Agent Tom Martin.
Certain words utilized on the letter sealed me up in the cellar with jugs of water. In talking to family members, we found out that those are not.
You are entering United Colony space. Maintain course and prepare to be scanned.
So it is our belief that the letter was dictated to her.
And we're done.
If the letter had been dictated, both the message and the date could be false. Having to guess at what exactly you should do, Mr. Heron wrote checks to all the men listed in the original ransom book, according to U.S. Attorney James Tucker.
He had already instructed his people to make efforts to determine what financial situations he had had with each of the people that were listed in the original note, so he had some idea of how much money had been involved with each of those people.
Mr. Heron settled on restitution roughly equivalent to the amount of money in the franchise lawsuits. The total paid to almost $1 million. Aaron sent $145,000 to the prime suspect, Alfred Wynn. Enclosed with each check was a note requesting the safe return of his wife.
Just because the governor's office is right out there on the main level,
Instructed the postal service to deliver the envelopes the next day. Later, agents spoke with Wynn's paralegal and learned of the attorney's reaction to Mr. Aaron's check.
When Mr. Wynn received his check at Tampa, Florida, he opened it, read the contents of the letter to Mr. Aaron, turned to his paralegal and stated, "This is not what I wanted."
He told his paralegal that what he had wanted was to get his life back, the return of his confiscated car.
If you're here to buy or sell, you might want to talk to Octai. I'm busy.
Wynn sent back the check with a note enclosed, saying he hoped Mrs. Herrick would be returned safely. Agents now believe that Alfred Wynn kidnapped
Wouldn't
Mrs.
be the
Herrick
first time I've
and
heard that
revenge
line.
against the photography company
Oh,
Aaron
don't
once
give me
shared,
that look.
not
I'm just having a laugh. What have you got for me?
That meant it was less likely Mrs. Herring would ever be returned alive.
Aurora, huh?
Although some of the
Nice.
people
A
receiving
little
checks
too hot to handle, though.
most
What
returned
else you
similar
got?
responses.
Well, hang on there.
Some of the
We
people
haven't
who
even
Mr.
started
Aaron
to
sent
negotiate
checks
yet.
to sent the checks immediately back to him, sent letters or called on the telephone, expressing
All
their
I'm
regret
going to
for
point
Mr.
at is the ceiling.
Something
My
like
middle
this
finger.
happened to his
Get
wife.
that stuff out of
He
here
wanted
before
nothing
UC
to do
security
with it.
catches on.
And they weren't gonna back
Of
him
course,
through his
if
career.
there's a finder's fee you're offering, I
2.5
might,
months
well,
passed
bend the
without further
rules a
word
little
from
bit.
Annie Herring's kidnapper. Considering her fragile health, chances were
You
slim
know,
she would
it's funny.
survive.
Suddenly, I do remember someone who might be able to unload that stuff for you.
1988.
Glad we could put things into perspective.
National crime-solving
There's a
television
buddy of
series.
mine who runs with the Crimson Fleet. Goes by the name
Agents
Adler
around the
Kemp.
country chased each of
If he
the
isn't
hundreds of
passed
leads.
out, you can find him killing the rest of his brain cells at the Broken Spear.
One call from a woman
Oh,
in Florida
and
seemed
it's been a
especially
pleasure
promising.
doing business with you.
None of the
This
names
whole
were the
captain
ransom
thing.
note they broadcast. She said
Yeah,
that
baby.
Wynn were on the list. She had important information.
Huh?
The FBI learned that the Florida woman was a spiritual advisor, which did not initially bolster confidence among agents. But after a brief interview, they realized she had a strong reputation in the law enforcement field, having often assisted police in the past. The advisor told an agent she had first met N. Alfred Wynn 4 years earlier. In 1984, he had his first consultation, asking her advice about problems he had with the head of a photography company, the same company mentioned in the Aaron ransom note.
She instructed him to pursue his problems through the court system, to take legal means, and he told her that he'd already done that, it just didn't work.
Wynn said he wanted to kidnap the head of the company and hold him hostage until he got what he wanted. He had the perfect place to put the man and said that he was looking for someone to help him. He called her a month and a half later to ask if she would help. She declined. The advisor provided the FBI with records of her work with Wynn. Once assured agents would protect her, she agreed to become a cooperating witness and promised to contact Wynn to arrange a meeting. FBI technicians would wire her office for sound and video.
Our plan was to draw Mr. Wynn into a face-to-face meeting with him and have them discuss the prior discussions of his kidnapping of Mr. Harris, as well as any of the other things that would verify exactly what he had said during the trial.
Really well, you know.
Alfred Wynn took the bait. The monitored meeting took place in early December 1988. FBI agents watched as Wynn approached the office. Agents hoped he would
Things
reveal
can
the
get pretty glum around here. If you ever need
Unless you're here to serve me another drink, you can turn around and walk away.
The advisor told the men she had seen the crime show.
Hey, why don't you say that a little louder? I don't think every single UC guard in Sidonia heard you. Okay. Yeah, I think we can help you with this. If you've got a whole shipment of this stuff, you're going to need to move it fast. But you're going to have to do something for us first. Right down to business. And no small talk. I like it.
That wasn't part of our deal. But I bet you're about to say it's non-negotiable.
As a matter of fact, yes. Yes, I am. Non-negotiable addendum. I like that. Now listen up, because I'm not going to repeat myself. I need you to deal with a miner who's racked up a bunch of debt. He probably spent it all on booze, not that I blame him. Either way, I want that money back. Perfect. His name's Carl Fielding. I think you'll find him wandering around the Deimos miners' quarters. Don't worry, you can't miss him. You'll just look for the most miserable-looking guy in the entire place.
6 months after 73-year-old Annie Herring was kidnapped in Mississippi, FBI agents hoped to find her in an old Florida cabin owned by prime suspect Alfred Wayne. A message from the kidnapper had threatened that the elderly woman would be sealed alive in the cellar. But agents found no cellar. The place was empty of anything related to the kidnapping. FBI Special Agent Patrick McGlennon and other investigators continued searching for the kidnapped woman nearby.
We began to look in dry cisterns, some swamp area adjacent to those properties, the outbuildings, screened porches, whatever structures existed.
It is illegal to treat.
We found no sign.
Just passing through.
And no sign that anybody had ever stayed there. Certainly no cellars.
Adhering to this law is imperative in order to avoid unwanted infestation.
Something I can help you with?
Presumed dead. Then, in late
Out
July
of camp.
1989, Alfred Wynn sent a
Who the
filing
heck is
cabinet
that?
to the IRS, challenging them to find disputed financial documents.
What? Play what games? You're obviously confusing me with someone else.
But he failed
Look,
to check the cabinet thoroughly,
I'm tired.
and his arrogance
It's been a long day in the mines. I just want to go home, wash off the dust, and relax. This has been fun.
Effort to intimidate me into leaving him alone. That was a pattern that the agents discovered.
Adler. Oh, wait. You mean that Adler? Yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking about someone else. I told him I'd pay up next week when Deimos cuts our next profit share check. I'll even bring it to him personally. Sound good?
Documents outlined how Wynn and a former girlfriend had been planning to kidnap and kill the woman's husband. According to FBI Special Agent Tom Montgomery, the similarities to Annie Herring's abduction
Come
were
on.
obvious.
Give me a break.
They mentioned utilizing an old typewriter,
Look,
the type of
I haven't got a
communication,
single
and
credit to spare right now.
The first ransom note
Okay?
for Annie
You can't squeeze
Laurie
blood
Herring
from a stone.
was typed on an old 1920s vintage typewriter.
Technically,
They also
there
mentioned
are several
detailed
natural
maps,
geologic phenomena.
surveillance of the area. They also mentioned that it was actually Wynn that was going to do the crime, and the female was just going to help him and obtain what he needed.
What games?
FBI
Why are you
agents
doing
tracked
this
down
to me?
Wynn's ex-girlfriend
I
at the
don't
community college
have
where she
the
worked.
money.
They needed to question her about the plot outlined in the letters. At first, she claimed she knew nothing about the plot. But when
Sure.
reminded that
I guess I could ask for a
investigation
7-day
was a
shift.
soft crime, she
I don't
decided
know.
to cooperate. She said the plot to kill her husband was Wynn's idea. When she realized he was serious, she had broken up with him.
Whatever. With the amount of Martian dust in my lungs, I doubt I'm going to live very long anyway.
She said that a year earlier, in early August 1988, Wynn had asked her to meet him at a motel in DeLand, Florida. It was just days after Annie Harron had been kidnapped. Wynn acted paranoid.
How dare you try and threaten my family?
When he was convinced it was safe, he began talking. Wynn asked her to mail a letter for him, offering her $500 plus travel expenses. She agreed, and he paid her half in advance, $250. Wynn handed her an envelope wrapped in gray napkin. Then he gave her very specific instructions. She was not to touch the envelope or New York the address. He ordered her to mail it from Atlanta, buy the airline tickets under a false name, and fly into and out of 2 different airports. He instructed her to change her appearance before the trip. She complied, changing her clothes, jewelry, and hair in the women's restroom at the airport. Once in Atlanta, she was to mail the envelope precisely on August 11th. But the woman told agents it was late in the day when she made it to a mailbox. At the last moment, she said she couldn't resist a glance at the address. The letter, allegedly sent by Annie Laurie Harron, was postmarked on August 12th from Atlanta. Agents showed the woman a photo of the envelope Robert Harron had received. She immediately recognized the distinctive handwriting. It was the envelope she had made. She said that she had thrown away the napkin used to carry the envelope on Willow Road. Once she finished working. That evening, she brought the agents to the area. Investigators knew there was little chance they would find the napkin on the roadside after more than a year. They looked anyway. They needed it to corroborate their story. Against all odds, they found it. But they wanted an admission not for
Mars isn't for everybody. The Red Devils used to train here on Mars.
With a solid cooperating witness, agents
Something I can help you with?
Any of the old-timers could ever
At the FBI's request, Wynn's ex-girlfriend agreed to be wired for an audio tape
Hey, slow down.
herself and Wynn.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
We had hoped Mr. Wynn would discuss facets of the crime, that he would tell her what she had accomplished by sending the letter to the Harron.
Of course, I
He
don't want.
would thank her.
Unless you're independently wealthy, everyone's in debt nowadays. I owe Deimos. I owe my landlord. I owe Galbank. Heck, I have a tab at Parsec Deep at Cespia. It's an endless list. So why don't you just leave me here? Let me get drunk and find someone else to bother. Okay?
$250 he still owed her for mailing the envelope.
Adler, you
Wynn
said?
refused to talk into Taylor on his plan,
Nope.
and he never
I
mentioned
think
the
you
envelope.
have me mixed up with someone else.
He seemed to have stonewalled
Look,
investigators again.
I'm tired. It's been a long day in the mines.
Convinced he was
I
involved
just want to
and
go
desperate
home,
to find Mrs.
wash
Harron.
off the dust,
The FBI
and
knew
relax.
They had to arrest Wynn soon.
This has been fun.
On March 11th, 1989, the FBI was ready to arrest suspected kidnapper Alfred Wynn. They set up a
Hey
second
now.
meeting with Wynn's former girlfriend.
Take it easy there. Let me think about that person you mentioned. Adler, was it? Hmm? Oh, wait. You mean that Adler? Yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking about someone else.
so they could charge him to recover Mrs.
I
Harris.
told him I'd pay up next week when Deimos cuts our next profit share check.
FBI Special Agent Tom
I'll even bring it to him personally.
how to deal with Wynn in this
Sound
crucial
good?
second meeting.
Huh?
We had instructed her to become more aggressive in this meeting and to basically indicate to him that she was aware that she was involved in a criminal act. That
Come
she
on.
was watching television.
Give me a break.
And that
What the?
she now realized that the letter
I
that
haven't
she
got a
wrote may
single
in
credit
fact
to spare.
be involved
Okay?
in the kidnapping. May have
Can't
been
squeeze blood
second
from a
ransom
stone.
note, hoping to elicit from him something to incriminate
Technically,
him
there are
further.
several natural geologic phenomena that can stimulate the blood flow.
Agent watched the residents. The woman pushed Wynn about the Heron kidnapping. The suspect soon became defensive and left the car without admitting any knowledge.
What games? Why are you doing this to me? I don't have the money.
The element of surprise is
No way. I'm already working my fingers to the bone.
Alfred Wynn was charged with conspiracy to kidnap, mailing and threatening
Look,
communication,
I'd like to help,
and perjury,
but
testifying in front of a grand jury that he wasn't involved in the kidnapping. But agents still had no solid proof that he or an accomplice had in fact abducted any girl.
why the hell would I deplete my savings? To pay off a stock like Adler Kemp? Come on.
One with a Jackson marked on it in
I know.
in the margin. Agents thought these might indicate where Mrs. Heron's body had been placed, but extensive searches yielded nothing. Securing a warrant, Florida FBI agents searched Wynn's office. They needed physical evidence to prove Wynn was involved in the abduction of Aunt Laurie Heron. Their hopes rose when they spotted a vintage typewriter. Special Agent McLennan recalled that FBI examiners had determined the ransom note was typed on a 1920s era Royal typewriter, the exact model coming from Wynn's office.
A reminder that particle formation can occur beyond the city limits.
In my mind, this was
600 and 1800
upon which Wynn typed the Lewis and Van
A long day.
We sent it to the lab, fully expecting them to come back with a report saying, this is the exact typewriter that composed it.
Wouldn't last a week.
Something I can
The
help you with?
FBI lab determined that the typewriter found in Wynn's office was not the one used to type the ransom.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Agents
Hey,
believed Wynn
slow
had
down.
planted a different typewriter
I don't even know what
to
you're
bring down
talking
later
about.
prosecution. They had also found a business card for a van rental company in Wynn's office.
Adler, you said? Nope.
The company owner said
You have me mixed up with someone
White
else.
vans 3 times.
Look,
Each time he'd driven
I'm
more than
tired.
500 miles.
It's been a long
Just
day
100
in
miles
the
more
mines.
than the round trip
I
to
just want to
Heron's
go
residence.
home, wash off the dust, and relax.
Rental times do not coincide with
This
the date of the
has
abduction,
been
but one
fun.
did match the date when Alfred Wynn was sighted in the Heron's neighborhood. U.S. Attorney James Tucker had
hey
no
now.
evidence to prove his case.
Take it easy there. Let me think about that personal mention. Adler, was it? Oh, wait. You mean that Adler? Yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking about someone else. I told him I'd pay up next week when Deimos cuts our next profit share check. I'll even bring it to him personally. Sound good?
Mr. Wynn had in fact been out of his law offices and out of pocket during the entire time that
Come on. Give me a break. What the?
the crucial dates.
I haven't got a single credit to spare right now. Okay? You can't squeeze blood from a stone.
But it wasn't enough to charge Wynn with the crime they were certain he had committed.
Technically, there are several natural geologic phenomena that can stimulate the blood flow.
The federal trial for conspiracy to kidnap began in Mississippi on January 21,
What games?
1990.
Why are you doing this to me?
Throughout the investigation
I
and
don't
the 2-week
have
trial which
the
occurred
money.
in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Wynn professed his innocence.
Oh,
But at the
come on.
conclusion, a jury
I've
was
heard
Pierce
every
found
threat in the
guilty of
book.
crimes for which he was
Why
charged.
should this one be any different? Huh?
N. Alfred Wynn received the maximum sentence allowed. 19 years
No
and
way.
7 months.
I'm
for
already
conspiracy
working my
to commit
fingers to the bone.
He has no chance of parole from the federal prison in Coleman, Florida.
Look, I'd like to help,
Never to
but
this day resolved where Mrs. Heron is now, and the family deserves to know that. Well, in fact, as far as this office is concerned, we still carry this as an open matter, and will continue to do so until such time as somebody
great.
steps
That's
forward
all I need. To become a
tells us
charity
how we're
case.
locating where
How much lower do you expect me to go?
family
Huh?
deserves it.
Mr. Robert Herron
I
died of a
know.
heart attack on
No,
November 28,
Adler's paying me to the
1990.
army.
In May of 1991, Mrs. Annie Laurie Herron was declared dead to allow the settlement of the couple's estate. The Herron family still hopes to someday learn what happened to their mother, to begin to heal their pain, and to finally lay her to rest.
Long day. Couple more tours of duty here? Something I can help you with? Hey, slow down. I don't even know what you're talking about. Adler, you said? Nope. I think you have me mixed up with someone else. Look, I'm tired. It's been a long day in the mines. I just want to go home, wash off the dust, and relax. This has been fun.
In 1996, a pair of convicted felons escaped across the country. When a foreign military officer disappeared along their trail, authorities wondered if the armed fugitives had become killers.
Hey
The
now.
FBI raced to find the escapee
Take it easy
before
there.
more victims.
Let me think about that person you mentioned. Adler, was it? Hmm? Oh, wait. You mean that Adler? Yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking about someone else. I told him I'd pay up next week when Deimos cuts our next profit share check. I'll even bring it to him personally. Hmm? Sound good? Huh?
In Alabama, 2 desperate criminals fled the custody of a local deputy. Eluding authorities, they made their way across the country
Come
in
on.
a wave of kidnapping,
Give me a break.
abduction, and
What
murder. I'm Jim
Look,
Kallstrom,
I
former head of
haven't
the
got a
FBI's
single
New
credit
York
to spare
office.
right now.
Escaped criminals believe they have nothing
Can't
to
squeeze
lose.
blood from a
They'll
stone.
do anything to avoid capture. After the convicts claimed their first
Technically,
victim,
they are
further
supernatural
bloodshed was inevitable.
phenomena.
Unless the FBI could find them and bring them to justice.
What games? Why are you doing this to me? I don't
Central
have
Alabama,
the
May
money.
21st, 1996. A DeKalb County deputy was assigned to transport 3 inmates from state prisons to face
Might
court.
come after them? Because of me? I hadn't even thought of the possibility.
Michael Thompson was to be sentenced for murder.
Tell Adler I'm sorry for trying to wiggle out of the debt.
The deputy knew Thompson, having transported him before.
Out there, do something new, shall we?
Thompson had persuaded the deputy to let him sit in the front seat. Thompson had just met another inmate, Roger Yates. A career criminal had 17 burglary convictions and 3 prison escapes on his record. The third inmate was on work release. The prisoners were not handcuffed for the short drive.
Morris's flight
As the group neared Talladega, Alabama, Thompson made his move. At gunpoint,
Will in.
Thompson forced
What
the
can I do
deputy
you
to
for?
keep driving.
I sure hope this hearing loss isn't permanent.
He ordered him to drive to a
Have
secluded
something
area
for
in the
me?
woods near Lincoln, Alabama.
There, would you look at that? I knew that bum was holding out on me. He going to be a problem anymore? Or did he get the message? Nice. Nice. You're kind of a natural at this. Leaning on deadbeats comes easy to you. I like that. You know, if you like this kind of work, I can get you more. A lot
They
more.
marched their hostages into the woods.
Think you can handle running with my associates? That's what I'm talking about. I like your style. All right. I'll call ahead and get a hold of Neva Moore. She's second to the big boss himself. Head out to Europa. You'll find her there. I suggest you listen to whatever she has to say. Oh, and I've taken care of that Aurora shipment for you too. Don't spend on education.
The officer didn't know if he would be executed.
Deluxe condos are at high
The two escapees simply ran off. Michael Thompson and Roger Yaden took off in the direction of Talladega, leaving their prison clothes behind. It was Yaden's fourth escape from Alabama authorities. The deputy had to contact the sheriff's department. With a dropped handcuff key, he freed himself from the other inmate and ran for help. The escaped convicts had the deputy's service weapon and a shotgun stored in the patrol car. Under the cover of law officers, the two felons endangered anyone in their path. The deputy and a remaining inmate had flagged down a motorist and reached the local police department. Police immediately issued an urgent be on the lookout alert for the two escapees on a stolen patrol car.
One individual, Thompson, 6'1".
DeKalb County law enforcement launched a search. But the area contained hundreds of miles of rural roads. Despite the search, no sightings of the fugitives or the deputy's car came in that day. It wasn't until the evening that authorities received their first clue to Thompson's and Yaden's actions. A local paramedic contacted Talladega City Police and told them about his ordeal. He said that earlier that day, he was driving near Talladega when he noticed the sheriff's patrol car following him. When he heard the siren, the off-duty paramedic pulled over. Believed it was a routine stop. The officer asked